Right now I'm taking the social justice documentary course, and it's been very fulfilling for me. So right now we're working on a story about our collaborators. We went down to Puerto Rico for 2 weeks during October break. We are creating a story, or not creating a story, but more of amplifying their own story that they have in Puerto Rico about just the erasure of Black history over there, and just connecting back to your African roots, specifically with bamba, which is the music form that they choose, and it involves a lot of different components like dance, drumming, and even singing with all the chants that they have and stuff. Going to Puerto Rico was a very tough situation, just seeing how rich they are in culture, just because in the United States it's completely different. Was just slavery and everything, and specifically for me, I have a lot of family in a whole bunch of different places in the country, so it's not like I have one specific area where I can just indulge in my culture and just have that moment for myself. But so that was, it was pretty tough going to Puerto Rico and seeing all of that culture, but it also made me pretty just excited about getting back to my own roots and just reaching out to family members and stuff, and just asking a little bit more about where I come from, where my family comes from, and things that I can do to just keep tradition and culture alive. I think it's very important to understand where you come from and where your roots are established from, because for me personally, just growing up, I wasn't very sure. I didn't know a lot of my grandparents from North Carolina and stuff, just because I was so separated from them. So yeah, it didn't affect much with my identity and stuff, but just living in New Haven and just knowing that's not actually where I come from, that's not my place, was kind of just weird, and just trying to figure that around and just maneuvering around that and stuff. But for one, in 2020, there was a lot of different stuff happening. You had the pandemic, and then you had just the social justice issues that were happening. For me, it kind of just really opened up my eyes to what was happening in the world in general, and specifically in my own community in New Haven. I didn't know that there were a lot of instances. There was one instance a couple of years before 2020 happened, where a young student with mental disabilities was shot and killed by the police, and I didn't even know that until the recent events that happened in 2020 occurred, and people were bringing light to that. So it really opened my eyes and just made everything feel so urgent and feel so pressing in the moment. I would say Black history to me means giving thanks to those that came before you, and just giving that recognition to the people that have been an inspiration to you, have been a role model to you, people that you see on TV, or people that are just living in your own community that you feel have made a big impact in your life. I think it's very important to preserve your culture, because you just get a better understanding of yourself as a person, and you will be able to talk to people in a certain way, have a certain confidence that you may not have if you didn't have that sort of culture and just rootedness and just identity and stuff. So I would say that's one of the big things for me specifically, because as a child, I am still a little bit timid, but just knowing a little bit more about myself, my family, my community, and even coming to Villanova, sharing that with other students, it just made me feel just a little bit more confident in the classroom and in other places as well.